Starsand Island Early Access is officially here, and if you've just picked up the game and you're currently scratching your head because there is so much to learn, don't worry, I'm here to share with you some of the things I have learned from my time playing and also some tips and tricks that I would have liked to have known going into the game for the first time. Don't forget to like and also subscribe for more videos like this one, and if you have anything helpful to share with your fellow players, please leave a comment below. Like most farming and life sims, Starsand Island does start off with character customization, and I have one important tip for you in regards to this, especially if you're like me and you want to try out all of the options. There is a color picker in the character customization window, and in the build I played, the color you picked for one hair didn't carry over to the other. So for example, if I tried one hair on and then I changed the color, that wouldn't then carry over to the next one. You can also pick individual eye colors, so if you find a particular color that you like, either for your hair, your eyes, etc., quickly make a note of those numbers to make it a little bit easier for yourself when it comes to designing your character for the first time. Before we go into anything else, we also need to talk about career choices. I could have definitely done with a little bit of help in this department growing up, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a pointer too. The game asks you very early on which career you want to start with. In total, there are 5 careers. These are crafting, farming, ranching, exploration, and my absolute favorite thing, fishing. Very early on, Solara will ask you what you would like to start with first off, and the game does recommend you go with crafting, and even though I can be a little bit of a rule breaker sometimes in games, I think I do recommend you go with this one too. In addition to my demo gameplay way back when, I've recently done 2 game saves in this recent build, and one I started with crafting and one I started with farming, although I don't think it makes too much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. If this is your first time playing, I would try crafting, as some things might not be immediately obvious to you if you don't go through this career option first of all. The skateboard, for example, this is a huge thing very early on. The map is huge and this makes things so much easier to get around on, so highly recommend going with that one first off. Maybe if you do replay the game or you've already played it previously, this won't matter as much to you. Once you're happy with the crafting, I would then move on to farming so that you can get some crops growing to make some money, and then also ranching to start growing up your rabbits, and then move on to chickens and ducks too. Fishing and exploration will also kind of filter in naturally to the whole kind of progression of the game, and these are good things to do perhaps if you're waiting for crops to grow so that you can progress on to the next level or on with another skill as well. The game will feed you through the skill with quests, and as part of this, it kind of helps you learn other key pieces of information for the gameplay, such as interacting with pets or meeting other NPCs, which is done quite nicely. However, there is a lot of menus in your phone which relate to quests, so I'm quickly just going to explain some of the most important ones that I do recommend you check regularly. Your main quests will be found in your journey, and here you can flip between tracking and untracking them. If you change your mind on what you want to focus on, this is where you need to go, and it's quite easy to do. Bulletin board quests are also tracked here. This is something that is introduced quite early on and is really heavily encouraged in the game. The bulletin board is found outside the community center, and later on you can craft your own to have on your plot, which I do highly recommend doing, as it does get a bit tedious having to run all the way up here all the time. It is really important that you try not to ignore these, as not only will they help you progress friendship levels, earn you gold, but they will also form part of later island life unlockables, which they do want you to do a lot of them, so it's worthwhile getting ahead with that. One thing I also found useful when completing these quests is that you do not need to have the items in your inventory. They pull immediately from your storage, which is a huge time saver. I am so forgetful, so I'm very grateful for this. Island life is another tab in your phone, and this is essentially your overall island character progression. It has key milestones for you to hit, and I do recommend you pay close attention to these. Not only will they give you good rewards, but they will also help you progress through the island ranks. A currency you can earn here is Starsand, which is spent in the Workpedia, and this area is basically your skill tree for the progressions where you can buy perks using the Starsand. As you are required to spend the Starsand currency to unlock these perks, don't forget to go ahead and spend it. There's been times when I've had loads kind of racked up here and I've forgotten all about this, so don't be like me. Another important app is your Star Notes. This is similar to kind of Nook Miles in Animal Crossing. You're given like a whole host of little mini and side quests. The majority of these you may do without focusing on them intentionally, but there are some things that you may not even realize you can do in the game. There's things such as repairing facilities around the island. Star Notes are done on a level system, and as you move through the level, you earn fun rewards, including the previously mentioned Starsand, but there's also some really nice like blueprints and things in here as well. And the final one to remember to check is your Islandpedia. It is worthwhile trying to collect, capture, and craft as many different things as possible, because the more things you grab or more things you manage to get hold of, then the more rewards you shall receive. So although this isn't something necessarily to focus on directly, it's just something to be mindful of when you're playing. When something new does happen, generally you will receive a red dot notification or there might be a present icon, but I am still quite forgetful as to which one is what and which app I need to go into, so it's definitely worthwhile familiarizing yourself with each section. Now you've chosen your profession and maybe you're moving through some quests, the next thing I want to address is stamina. There is an energy bar in the game, and as you would imagine, it depletes when you perform activities such as chopping wood, for example. There are a few unsurprising ways that you can regain stamina, such as eating and also going to bed, but that will move you forward a day, so I try to avoid that as much as possible. Early on, one of the best ways to regain stamina is simply by sitting. If you craft yourself a rocking chair and relax for a couple minutes, you'll quickly regain some stamina to continue about your day without having to lose that remaining time of the day you're currently playing. You can also repair the swinging bench that you will find on your beginner plot, and this one is quite easy to kind of do as well. It's quite low cost, but this one also acts as a bench so you can sit there and swing and regain your stamina there also. The game does warn you about your stamina, and it does tell you not to stay up past 2 a.m. I'm going to give you another little reminder about this because I think this could be a costly mistake, especially if you didn't read the text. If you stay up past 2 a.m., you will wake up the following day with half of your stamina, which is quite a lot lost, and if you pass out for 3 days in a row, you will take a whole day to fully recover, which would just be a little bit annoying. Something that doesn't require a lot of energy is walking and sprinting. However, the map in this game is absolutely huge, so getting to grips with some of the best ways to move around the map is crucial. The game does encourage you to take rentals, but sometimes I felt that this was a little bit cumbersome. If you follow the crafting career with Zareen, as I mentioned, she will help you learn the skateboard, and then you can upgrade these to the rollerblades. I found that this was a lot quicker to move around the map. It was easier for me to jump on and off it. And fun little fact, you can also pick up things like berries and mushrooms whilst you're using your skateboard or your roller skates, so it's kind of nice and handy to have that early on. And also you can just jump around, which is just fun, honestly. If you are a little directionally challenged, the map is really detailed, so it will come in handy. On the left hand side, you have like the menu featuring things such as the main occupation mentors. You can also filter things by buildings and the residents. It will even tell you the shop opening times and if the shop is currently open. There are also map markers, which I found really helpful, and they have specific icons for you to choose from as well. These can all be tracked, and when something is tracked, whether it be a quest or your marker, a sparkling trail will appear. Although sometimes the marker itself will look like you can get there a quicker way, the sparkling trail actually leads you to the most easiest accessible path, so you won't get stuck with like a cliff in front of you. Some other things to note about the movement is that there is no fall damage. You can swim in the game if you find yourself in a pickle. I did just kind of jump off this massive cliff just to see if it was possible, but it was the quickest way to get down, and it did help me out at that moment. Also, it might help you find some special hidden caves behind waterfalls, so bear that in mind if you are out exploring. I fully encourage you to explore and just enjoy the world. If you do, you may find some surprises. There are plenty of treasure chests hidden around the world. Some are pretty obvious, some are not so. Be sure to check behind buildings and walls. The rewards in these are pretty good, and they can include some things such as furniture blueprints. You may also come across glowing spots in the world. There is one near the general store, and what you need to do here is follow the glowing spots and where it moves to, and if you do manage to do it successfully, you'll be rewarded with a treasure chest. Honestly, I'm not a parkour fan, and this did cause me a bit of frustration, but I got there in the end. I don't normally encourage stealing, but if you do find a sparkly spot, this may indicate that there is something that can be picked up or stolen. If you are at the ranch, check the animal stalls, as you can steal some items here. Just make sure Pastel is not watching you. If you come across anything that is interactable, give it a try. For example, you can wobble the vending machines and they may give you some items. You can also rummage through charity boxes for free stuff, and you can delve into trash cans. Unsurprisingly, if you find yourself with too much junk, you can also use the trash cans to throw things away also. There are also more legitimate ways to earn items, and be sure to check all of the shops. Some of the shops also have lots of tabs, so it's not immediately obvious that you can buy other items from them. I was really short on fiber and wood for so long, and then I later realized that I could have purchased them from the shop if I had just looked a little bit closer. If you also need to offload some loot to sell, you don't just need to throw it away. You can go to the shops, and any of the shops will accept any of your items, so you don't need to trek too far, which is kind of a great little bonus. Later on, you will also be able to craft your very own shipping bin, which is immediate, so I highly recommend you crafting that once you do get your hands on that recipe. Next thing I want to advise you about is the storage system. The game uses a chest system, which you may think, oh no, I'm going to have millions of chests. Well, yes, I would suggest you craft some straight away and do begin to hoard items, and there is a lot of crafting in the game. However, the game does have some simple quality of life features, which I did find helpful. For example, you don't need to open up the chest to add items. If you've already got matching items in that particular chest, you can just walk up to it and then press the button, and it will pull the items from your inventory into the storage that match. If you enter into one of your storage chests, you can also flip between all of them, all of the chests you have placed down and crafted, and then you can pull items or put items into them. It's a really good way to kind of be able to manage your storage without having to run endlessly between the different chests, and it means you're kind of better off having your chests spread across out the world, so you're not just having them all in one area, because why would you do that when you can access them remotely? It's great. As I said, crafting is a big part of the game, and I definitely would recommend clearing out a good space on your plot for the crafting items. Your crafting does pull directly from your storage, which is another nice feature to make things easier. Whenever you do find a blueprint for a new crafting machine, I really would suggest crafting it as soon as possible, as that machine may come in very handy. Also, do pay close attention to your crafting machines, because when you are in the UI, there is an upgrade button on some of the crafting machines that will allow you to perform more actions once you have upgraded it, and this will obviously lead you to unlock other resources. To upgrade the machines, you will see that the button is grayed out, and if you just hover over it, it will tell you what is needed to be able to upgrade it, and then it will go blue when you are able to upgrade it. When it comes to these, I would also recommend keeping your crafting machines as active as possible, especially for the furnace. Very early on, you're going to need a really good stock of charcoal, and softwood planks, which are crafted in the cutter, will help, as these are pretty popular in some of the recipes. Aside from crafting, farming will also take up a lot of your time. The crops in the game have their own independent timers, so do keep an eye on them if you like to be organized and you don't want to have to make lots of trips back and forth. Wheat is a great starter crop, and you could turn this into flour in the separator for just a little bit extra. When buying your seeds, pay close attention to what you are purchasing. Some seeds can only be used in the planter boxes or on the trellises. Whilst I've just mentioned trellises, just an important thing to note, be careful not to get confused in your crafting bench, as there are two trellis items. When you're in the crafting table, the one that you're going to want for the farming has a green background and it is typed as a planting equipment. Also, you don't need to place these on tilled land. It will kind of do the work for you. You go into build mode and then you place the trellis down and it will convert the ground as well. Some seeds are also season specific, so be careful not to spend all of your money on out of season seeds. There is a clear icon in the corner which will help you realize whether it is in season or not. It is also wise to get your everlasting seeds you obtain from quests and gifts placed down straight away, as these just continue to grow and grow. You will have a water pump, and fun fact, you can move this around your farm. So if you decide to kind of put your farm further away, move your pump towards it just to make it like a little bit more efficient and less time consuming walking across that farm. Also, be sure to keep your rabbits relatively nearby your crops, as these do help with your weeds. They kind of get rid of them for you, which is a nice little helper. Speaking of rabbits, also remember to pet your ranch animals every day, as this is part of the requirement to level up the ranching skill, and so you need to get your affection raised with them. When possible, craft the brush and make sure that you have it on hand in case they do need cleaning, as this will also help increase it. It also increases the likelihood of better quality drops. That golden poop does sell pretty well. There isn't a traditional underground mine in this game. Instead, you go exploring through the forest, and here is where you can claim lots of resources. But whilst you're there, don't just mine the rocks and the ores. Keep your eyes peeled for soil mounds, as you can also mine these to get other items. Also, don't forget about the gravestones, as these will help unlock new areas. There is a little bit of a tutorial in this, but they are a lot more sparkly than your normal rocks. There are lots of resources to find in the forest, and one thing I found very useful is to place chests for storage at the camp areas. You can access these chests from your home, meaning you can just keep exploring when your pockets get full. If you just return back to a camp, drop your stuff off, and then you can head back again. Then when you return home, you can just scroll across your different storage boxes and grab the items. Although there aren't a lot of enemies in the forest, it is still a good idea to go into the forest with some ammo and some food in case you run low on stamina. There is a campfire there, but that means you have to wait for it to cook. Starsand Island has so many different characters, from main mentors to residents and even tourists. You can befriend the residents of your island. To do this, you can talk to them every day and gift them too. When it comes to gifting them, the amount of the increase in your affection level will depend on how much you like the gift. Once you have given them something, and if they like it, you can keep track of this in the social menu. I do recommend you try and do this all once a day, but obviously the map is very big, so I kind of treat it more as if I see them, then I will do it then. Quests do help level up your affection a lot more than doing this, so it is worthwhile keeping on top of them too. Some of the NPCs do have shops, and if a particular shop is closed for the day, you can still access the shop by speaking with that particular NPC directly, so you don't need to wait for it to open. You can also interact with tourists. This can be a little bit time consuming, but they do have the possibility to give you items as well. It may be just a random gift, but that might be a random thing you've never had before, so it's kind of worthwhile doing this early on, and then you can either sell the items or gift them on to someone else. Whilst exploring out in the world, you will also come across pets. If you do see them, be sure to interact with these as you increase your friendship with them, and eventually you are able to adopt them. I wasn't really sure how to keep track of them, but you can also keep track of these in your social app, which is the main reason why I'm mentioning it, because they do go over it in the game. But either way, if you really want a pet, keep speaking to them. So there we have it. There are kind of my key tips and tricks to get you started in Starsand Island. I really hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, I will try and answer them in the comments, so don't worry about asking. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy playing the game. Bye bye.